Okay guys, so let's get to ReactJS, and starting out, just open your files and open a terminal to anywhere you want the app in the directory. After that terminal gets open, you need to first install the CLI that is responsible for creating our React application. The prerequisite is that you have Node.js and npm installed globally and the npm global directory added to path as well. And so I'm going to install using this command npm i-g create react app. This is the tool that is responsible for creating our React applications. Else if you manually install React and Webpack and all, then it is very troublesome. So create React app is a straightforward CLI that enables you creating React applications just in minutes. This npm, it is actually npm install, but for short you can also write npm i and that works the same thing. One thing more that I want to tell you is that this create react app actually takes some kind of data every time it is used. I mean, I had just it already, so it is updated. Now if I'm going to create a React application, so you have to do it like this: create React app and the name of your applications, which in my case I choose my site, and I press enter. Now every time you press the create react app, it actually installs new modules, it downloads them and then installs. So it takes actually some data of yours for that downloading and installing stuff. In case you live in a country where data is not that cheap, or you don't have a Wi-Fi like I have a LAN cable this time, you are using personal data and it might get exhausted easily. So my choice for you would be not to install that create react app and rather install this create react app offline. This is just a one, oh, it's actually -g. This is actually a one-time installation package that enables you creating all of the React applications offline. Instead of like this, where it is consuming a lot of data and I mean, it is downloading and installing packages, and it also like you have to wait for it. That thing doesn't happen in create react app offline, because all the packages are now downloaded while I am downloading it. And the next time when you will create a React application using this tool, everything would be done in minutes or in a second actually. So how you create a React app offline is how it is done like this: CRAO, that is short for create react app offline, and then -n, and then the name of your app, which is my site. But since my site is actually creating, so this time I name it my site off for offline, and you will get the results in minutes. This process will not consume any of your data and it will do it, all these things on your own. That's it, built. So let's open your newly created my site directory. Since this one is under downloading process, so let's start with my site off. Wait a minute, there's something wrong with my path environment variable. I guess Visual Studio Code is giving me a high time. I can just right click and open it like this. Oh, I guess things got installed. Okay, so we don't need this offline version. You can simply start with that as well, but does the same thing. Now if you are using offline, it doesn't have yarn, which is actually a much better feature. So what I would recommend that you type yarn there and get yarn installed inside of this directory, because yarn is much handy when it comes to React applications. Sometimes it happens that npm just clashes with other data and you won't have to do it. Now yarn will take its time, so let's begin with the newly created my site directory. Whew, what a mess, man. What a mess. Let's close this thing up. Close this one as well. Okay, so let's finally get started on our applications. For starting our application, all you have to do is to open the terminal console and type yarn start. This will create a local, it will host your application on localhost, as you do with Flask. You just make Flask and manage it by the same thing as happens here with yarn. It takes a little time on first starting, but after that it becomes quite easy. Come on, man. Just start the development server. It started, I guess. Yep, it did. Now you can just press Control and click this one, and here you got your React application, which is the default inside the src/app.js. This is development server. And for responsive purposes, suppose you have a different PC connected to the same Wi-Fi network, or you want to test it on your phone, you can click this one, open, and here you go. You can copy paste this URL and open this anywhere. Like this is Firefox. You can copy this and open it on your phone, and when you will see, you can also access the same site here if you copy this URL on phone, provided it is connected to the network. Now you shouldn't care, I'm going to show you that what this development server means is it is actually a real-time server. It means whatever changes I do to my code will happen to this as well. Like as you can see, this edit src/app.js to save the reload is this snippet. If I change it to do not edit, it will change here as well. Yep, as you can see. And if I delete it, it can change again. Yeah, as you can see. So that's how we just start setting up with React. And with ReactJS alone, it is just a framework which for stopping this server, you can do Ctrl+C and the server will stop. Now if I reload it, I just reloaded the problem because the server is now stopped. One more thing that I love, React. One more thing that I want you guys to install is that React is only just a framework that is used to build packages. And it is mainly for single page applications. So for hosting different pages in HTML, you have this thing like a href is equals to ./page.html. Yep, but that's actually not in React. You can't do that in React because the whole application in React is a single page. So you can't do this. You can do this. That is for external. That's for external websites like react.org, but for your main site inside any page.html, you can't do it this way. The tool that is required to do this is actually named as React Router DOM. We won't go through this, but we will need it later. So you need to install this package as well, along with two other packages that provide a lot support when it comes to front end. You won't have to create everything from scratch. Everything will be available to you in instance. So those packages are React Bootstrap, and another one is it's add @material UI/co and @material UI/icons, in case you would be needing some icons. in Material UI. And for React Bootstrap, it is required that you include Bootstrap as well. In this video, I've just started and told you that how you can set up and start from scratch doing things like this and that. Meanwhile, it installs. Let me tell you one thing: the basic structure of this app is that you won't be needing. You can include the CSS here, and the main application that does all the stuff is this index.js. It is what is responsible for creating your HTML, which appears here in public. You have to edit, suppose if you have to do something in HTML, you can edit it here, like you add meta viewport, you can edit it, it's black here, the theme, you can change it to white if you want. You can edit this HTML, you can add some SEO into it, like meta, open graph, Facebook and all, and you can also define multiple routes. What is the purpose of this index.js is that it only renders the root element. It only fills data inside of this element is what the purpose of this entire application. If you want for another div, like div whose ID could be not root, so you can also provide data inside of this one by fixing something like React download render document that get element by ID not root. So with this, all the React application that you will do, the HTML, it will be converted to HTML and will be filled inside this element. So actually what React does is that it converts JavaScript to HTML, so that HTML will be filled inside this element and not this one. But for recommended purposes, you should use root. Any other changes like linking or adding JavaScript or jQuery, you can add it in this file index.html, and React will finalize everything for you. For now, the JavaScript part we will be handling, that inserting HTML inside this root element, which is of which this index.js is responsible. And for simplicity purposes, this only is managed for external things. The internal of our app is defined inside this app component, inside this app.js file. Like you see, if I start the server again, yarn start, and once it gets started, I open the URL. It shouldn't take long. Yeah, it started. Now as you can see that once it gets loaded, the URL, all, let's see, this page that you are seeing is actually edited inside of that app component. You will see something like img app logo.html, that is this, and you will see edit src for the app, that's this content, and then you will see some link kinda learn React. You don't have to care what it does, just look at them openly. So this thing that I want to show you, I want you to tell you that whatever your app is doing, whatever page you are seeing here, is actually edited inside this file app.js, while all the extra stuff, the complexities that is actually connected with rendering is handled inside index.js, while the rest of the management of your app is done inside app.js. Now for creating a simple application, I don't need this thing, I don't need this. All that you are going to do is to return a hello world div h1 hello. So what you think this will do? This will create a function app which is responsible for managing whatever our web page will display, and this is going to show hello. The HTML is actually easy. it's not that far. And so let's reload, and as you can see, it's hello. I have to do no changes here. It is only associated with rendering and security and all the front end part that you are going to see, we will be going to edit inside this app.js file. And here I did hello. You can also add much parts like simple HTML things, dick, lol, and that will be. And now this thing is giving me error. I try to reload, it is giving me error. So in that case, what you should do is pack this inside div. This error actually comes because React can only return one element, and this time you were actually returning two elements. So the fix for this is pack this whole bunch of elements inside a single element like this, and you can just render it. So now this time it is, instead of returning two elements, this time the app is returning just one element, one parent div element, and inside of it there are two elements, and there you can get the error resolved. So that's how we do things in React. And in my next video I'm going to put this thing to a next level, where we are going to build some much more better than hello world applications. Another thing that I can tell you is that there is also a shortcut to this packing inside div. You can simply do this. That will also work, but that might sometimes confuse you, so you can use div. That's how it works.